difficulties, so
We found trying to make these is really
yeah.
hard.
So when you're moving it from one dimension to the other, don't pull too hard.
You will be gentle. So basically we decided to do our project, oh, I'm Callie, this is Anna. And we decided to do our project on the evolution of a dot or vertex, as you'll see, named Bob, like the aliens, but he's just a normal dot. And so basically the evolution of him is changing from the 0 dimension to the 4th dimension, and you'll see he kind of talks about how he's going from one space into the next space, and he's has little narrative type things.
We thought it would be cool to do an octahedron, and to take it to the 4th dimension, since we hadn't discussed that in class.
We didn't want to do a cube.
So this is Bob in 0-dimensional space. Obviously, he is just a dot, stuck forever. He's very sad and lonely. He can't move around. He's just all by himself. So he moves into 1-dimensional space. So now he can go left and right, or back and forth, whichever one you want to do, as long as you're keeping it in 1-dimensional space. He has only one means of movement. So he is a line on a second.
In our essay, basically what we wrote about was the evolution of Bob, and it was probably a little bit more creative, but we talked about how Bob prayed to the gods of platonic solids. He wanted to be just like them, and so he prayed for them to please give him legs, because he was born without legs, so he couldn't move. And so he prayed for legs so he could move, and so that's how he got into this dimension. He was able to tread along, and then he prayed again.
He prayed again, and that's how he was able to get here. Yeah. So as he says down there, so much freedom. He can go left and right and back and forth. So now this part's really kind of weird. I don't know what you all thought an octahedron would be in 2-dimensional form. Anybody? I really thought it was going to be
We thought it was
a triangle.
Because they just like the basic shape, if you look at it, is 4 triangles on each
Yeah, so
side.
you would think sitting down in 2-dimensional space that would be a triangle. However, it
Apparently
is not.
That was
And the way I kind of thought of this, let's think about the tetrahedron, and how the tetrahedron is all triangles, and if it were in 2-dimensional space, it would have to be a triangle because its base is a triangle. So in this case, the middle of the octahedron is a square. So imagining it going from 3rd dimension to 4th dimension, it's, 2nd dimension to 3rd dimension, it's moving up and down from the square. It's like you're taking the middle and just stretching it from the center. So that's how that explains that, if you were wondering. Because we were a little confused.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So now he's moving into the 4th dimension, which is going to look kind of weird. But that's what your 4th dimension
It is so difficult to draw, just saying.
I know, I was about to say that
That was
drawing.
a really good drawing.
Above art, nice job.
Yeah, so now he's moved into 4th dimensional space, which we know is just taking the 3rd dimensional object and dragging it in a new direction. Although we can't really see that direction, we can imagine what that direction would look like if we were to take that object and drag it.
So we did these little things, which kind of got distorted. But basically, you can see that you have your, we'll do this because that was kind of messed up. You have your basic octahedron at the top. And so we did like all the little red ties, if you can see at the end, are the vertices. And then the blue ties are the dragging marks. So once you go from the 3rd dimension to the 4th dimension, the these blue lines would become edges. So you have your one octahedron here and your one octahedron here, but with their dragging marks, they become your fourth dimensional hyperoctahedron.
Which is really cool. And there are
So-
YouTube videos of like hyper square.
Yeah, if you look up the hyper
octahedron,
things, they look pretty ridiculously
hyper
cool.
tetrahedron, so that's something you will always look at on your own time, but it's really cool.
So this is our project.
Any questions?
What happened to Bob?
Oh, well, Bob,
Did you
he
sense
got
it?
to the fourth dimension, and then he realized this is a little bit too much for me right now. I
That
can't
makes
really
sense.
comprehend this. so-
Yeah, he basically he wished for legs so then he could walk. So he gets to the first dimension and he's able to walk. Then from the first dimension, he asks for a friend. And so he and a friend start walking together.
see.
Everywhere that they walk, he says, well, just to make it easier on you guys, instead of having to give me all these friends, how about if everywhere I walk, you make my footsteps, a new edge, a new line. So that's how they become the squares. They're walking together. And so they get into the square, and then they do want more friends, so they pray to the gods again. And the gods are like, are you serious? Like you said, one wish. And so they get friends, and they create their octahedron, and then they decide, okay, now they're a platonic solid. They're just up there with the gods. That's where they wanted to be. But they form a coup, and they decide this is just not good enough. We have to be above the gods. So all together, they move together as their octahedron, and they walk together and form another octahedron. And because they walk together in the shape of an octahedron, they create their fourth dimensional one.
But
Way to
then
go,
they
Bob.
decided to just stop there
Yeah.
because
They were just like, is this no light?
things
So-
that.
Way to
That's
go,
that.
That was
Bob. Reach
really
for the
good.
stars.
Do you have any idea what a six-dimensional butterfly thing is?
Well, in that fourth dimension, then you would take that and slide it over into fifth dimension, and then you would take that and slide it over, so it would be kind of like a cube-ish shape of that.
Right, so you would take this four-dimensional figure and slide it in any direction since that's
And then
it's
all
just
of that
very